Oh, answered. We good? Sure. Good morning, evening, afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, viewers, depending on where you're watching us from. Today we're here on the Unplugged podcast, episode 3. My name is Thembelihle Kumalo, and I'm going to be your guest host for today. I'm not alone. I'm joined by 4 gentlemen, 2 here to my left, and the others are online. I believe that you can see them. We're going to jump straight into it, and I'm first going to go to my guests who are here in studio with me. We also have a live audience I should mention, so between the conversations we'll just pass to them and then we'll give them a chance to contribute to the conversations that we're going to have here tonight, or to just ask questions. I'll start with my brother on my left. Thulani, can you just introduce yourself, tell the audience who you are, the viewers who you are, so forth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, for the viewers that are there back at home, and for those that don't know me, my name is Thulani Sigonya. I am from Upington, Paballelo. I hold an honors degree in political science from the University of the Western Cape. I am currently undergoing to complete my master's. I've completed my first year. It is just my final year of submitting my thesis, then I'll be done. But other than that, thank you for the invitation.
No, thanks. No, thank you, man, for honoring the invite. And we also have our brother Uneo. He will explain and give us a young introduction who he is before I go to the guys online.
Good evening to everyone in the live audience and those of you watching at home. My name is Gqalane, for those who do not know me. I do hail from Upington, Paballelo. I do not, however, have a lengthy introduction such as Kumalo sitting next to me. But for those who don't know me, my name is Gqalane. I come from Paballelo, Upington. I matriculated at Paballelo High School in the year 2018, and I am 25 years of age. So basically, that would be all.
No, thank you, man. Is it possible if you can go to the guys online? I'll start with Ayanda. A young introduction, and just tell us who you are, where you're coming from. We can't. Ayanda's still offline. So I'll go to Savio. Savio, can you just give us a young, brief introduction, who you are, where you're from? You are coming to us from a live stream, where you're streaming from, and all of that.
Good night, everyone. Good night, view audience. My name is Savio, and I came from Fasmak, the dusty of Ringwas, Paballelo. I see tonight that my other panelists, they are all from Upington. I'm someone who's on the ground always. I'm just an ordinary young guy, young man with a big vision. Try to want to change the lives of our people. Thank you.
On the 29th of May, the conversation throughout has been elections. What is happening in our society? What is happening in our politics? We're also going to touch on something important that happened in politics yesterday. And I'm really happy for the fact that for one of the first times, I'm part of a conversation with young men and with young educated men also, and with young passionate men who care about their communities and what their community goes through and all of that, because the grown-ups, hence sometimes they say they don't add us into these political arenas, or they don't give us a platform, is because they have this notion that as soon as we gather, we only gather here for alcohol. Okay, are you back, Ayanda?
just scared that we won't be able to hear what you're saying because the network is dealing with us this side. So we can't hear you very clearly.
His network. Okay. So, should we continue without him, and then we'll just brief him as we go? Is that fine? Okay. Yeah, as I was saying, gents, there's a general consensus that when we as young people, when we meet around alcohol. The conversations we have are not conversations of substance. So I'm really happy that this is happening today, and it's happening right before the elections. You know, when young people are really now starting to weigh in, because we are starting to see how post 29th of May is going to affect us. So I'm happy that we're having this conversation right now. And to jump into one of the topics that I want to speak about, as I'm saying that young people here are now speaking about politics, it's what is happening in the ZFM region. I want to come to you guys. You, Thulani, you're from Upington. You were raised here, right? Now, whenever you're from Upington, you were raised here. And I want to ask you a rather personal question as to, are you satisfied with what's happening in the ZFM region? Are you satisfied with how young people are included in the decision making? Are you satisfied with the service delivery that's happening here in our region? I'll start with you, Thulani.
I was hoping Nati starts first because I think mine is quite long.
Is yours long?
Yeah, because the reason why I was fortunate enough to live in different provinces, and I think probably out of the three, two were governed by two separate political parties. So from being raised here and having gone out and experienced something else, and then that question that you just asked, you're making me think of a lot of things, because the difference is quite dire. And even now, how many young people do you see in here?
Not a lot.
Exactly. So you need to ask yourself, what is the disconnect between young people and society and topics of substance? So it clearly then means there is a lack of.
Do you mind elaborating? What is the lack of?
The lack thereof is what you had mentioned in asking the question, which is the older generation, younger generation. We're not speaking the same language.
Okay.
Situations have changed post-apartheid. We literally just turned 30 years into democracy.
Sure.
I am literally 30 years. So I can give you an experience of my 30 years in this country. My mother has been staying in a shack since 2007. I am now a second generation from her who's also staying in a shack. So that should then tell you about the situation that we as young people find ourselves in. It is no different than a generation that was part of two different systemic changes in their lives. Post-apartheid was something else under the National Party, and then
pre-apartheid was.
Thank you for that correction. And now post, we are living in an environment where we have the Liberation Party. But loyalty kind of plays a different role when you need to look at reality. And I know when it comes to politics, you don't know which devil to trust. Because at the end of the day, it literally is about competing for power. And with us as young people, we haven't been given enough platforms to be a part of that power. We have not been granted opportunities to make decisions that affect us. I don't want to give you a spoiler, but if we're going to talk about what happened yesterday, which is monumental.
Yes.
But at the same time too, I can tell you none of us here were a part of the decision making, or not even that, like being given a platform to submit reviews. Yes, there was time frame for that. However, the time frame is more of a technicality more than involvement.
No, but you'd know,
But
ne?
I'm not going to go into that. Like I said, spoiler.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
just wanna answer you, to answer your question about, like I said, it's a lengthy one, man.
No,
and
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm a graduate and I'm uncertain of my future in this town because I cannot tell you anything that my supposed qualifications has helped me bring about change within this town, especially when it comes to things of social justice, when it comes to financial stability or freedom in terms of employment, or are there enough programs such as platforms like these? Why is there not even any of, I'm sure invites were sent out to,
No, they were.
and now we don't even see them here, but then when we are being called, we need to adhere all the time.
And we are being called again on Saturday.
That's the disconnect that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I don't think as a young person in this town, I feel like my situation has changed, and I don't even think I have hope that it will.
Sure. No, what do you have to say, man? What is it like? What's life for you like here in the ZFM region?
Well, being born here, I also have moments where I reflect as to how the whole community was like growing up. There's a huge difference to how Paballelo, to how Upington was like
Growing up.
as to how it is now. So somewhere along the way, a lot happened. I'm not going to dwell into what exactly happened since then. I'm fast forward up until now because I was way too young to be involved in the conversations that were being held and the meetings or the decision making or whatever transpired since then till date. Whether I am satisfied with how things are in my community to date or not is a matter of me reflecting and reminiscing back on how things were and my urge to in some way try to get it back.
So basically what you're saying is that the ZFM you grew up and the one that you're currently living in right now, there's a whole difference.
There is a difference, and I mean everyone can see it. We can see it. It's something that we see. It's something that we notice, and it's something that is deeply concerning to most of us. Because at the end of the day, we are the ones that are being affected by the conversations, as Kumalo said, decision making and conversations that happen without our concern. As to us being the future leaders and the future leaders of this community or the future leaders of whatever political party that is out there, decision making for me, I feel like we should be included in everything because at the end of the day, it all comes down back to us. For me, growing up, I would like to see what I saw back then. I would like to get us back to where we were, to our former glory in everything. Because what's happening now, as to what happened back then, it's concerning to see the difference and how much has changed for the worse. Dating back from, I mean, most of us in this room grew up in Paballelo. We experienced life in Paballelo. We knew how services were being delivered. As to where we are now, we know where we were. Let me put it in that way. We know where we were. Where we are now, it's concerning.
It's concerning.
It's very concerning.
I don't know if Savio is still with us, and he'll just confirm that. He's not. Savio is not here.
The network is...
Oh, your network is bad.
Yeah.
Okay, now then we'll just continue the conversation amongst us then until we get the guys back online. So both of you mentioned something that is, I'd say, triggering, because when you speak of Paballelo then, or the ZFM region, let me extend it, then and the one now, where do you guys think we went wrong? Because if I could give my 2 cents, I think where we went wrong as young people. Growing up, my mother was very political. She still is. And I am a son of a teenage pregnancy, right? So when I became quite conscious, my mom was still young, you know? She was still in her 20s. But I always used to see her, like I have vague memories of her going to political meetings and going to away with like the ANC and whatever. And for me, when I look at my community now, and I look at the involvement of young people within governance, whether it's in political parties, whether it's in the municipalities and all of that, honestly, I think our young people are not interested. That is the notion I have. I know we'll shift blame to our leaders, and they are also to some extent responsible. But then, if we're being honest, gents, young people don't really care about what's happening in our communities. But then we're the most vocal on social media. And then for me, it's baffling because, I mean, come on, if we have a meeting, why are you not there? And why are you not airing these things? Because what happens on social media, it's an after briefing. It's an after briefing where political parties or the municipality will just come and inform us about what had happened. And then when you look at the pictures even, you'll see it's Boko, our older generation are the people who attend those meetings. So for me, I think when we speak of us being not part of decision making within this region, I think we also are part and parcel to blame. Yabo, I don't know, you scratching.
Yeah, because I don't know, I see there's a hand there, I don't know how this, when can people...
Okay, no, we'll get to it.
I think to some extent I need to probably play or be devil's advocate with my opinion, because I do not agree that young people are not interested. I asked you something in my response previously by asking how many young people do you see sitting here in the audience?
Sure.
And that will probably be the emphasizing phrase that I will keep going to, because it's going to be the main core of whatever it is that I say. What efforts have been done by the older generation that is in power of higher officers of management, whether that's in governance or whether that's in community structures or anything affiliated or associated with community? How many young people already in there have you been seen invited to such spaces? How many organizations have gone out to also try and form part of youth spaces such as these? And then young people always get the blame that we are just nonchalant, we don't care about wanting to be involved with matters of importance in our communities, but matters that need to afford us as young people the affordability to grow, to be able to see a back then ZFM that doesn't have declining ways of development, but something that remains. We can't be talking about an experience of then. It means we can't speak of now in a fruitful way. Because we need to go back to be able to reminisce on something that was, that we wish is here. The question I think then should be, how have we been allowed to benefit in any which way to be a part of conversations that need to be life-changing? We always get called upon only when it's elections, because now people are willing to make the effort to walk to a house in Makweta Valley that otherwise in the 4 years to come, they will never go to that house again. And yet you expected that same person 4 years later to have gusto in them to be able to participate. And then yet still, you're not bearing in mind that there are kids that are growing up and that have heard these promises being made. And when they see the downfall of a decision that has no involvement with them, none whatsoever, do you really expect that kid, seeing the disappointment in their parents, to grow up having enthusiasm about change or being able to be given the space to be a part of whatever it is that we foresee?
Yeah. Okay. You can go ahead.
For me, I feel like it reflecting on what Mkhulu said, I feel like it goes both ways. Number one, as you said yourself, young people are not interested. But I will change the narrative a bit. Let's not say young people are not. It's not about young people not being interested. It's about the majority of young people that aren't interested. I mean, look at how many people are
In the audience.
in the audience right now. Andy went to Facebook and to other social media platforms to invite people. He went out of his way to actually make sure that people showed up, and this is the end result. So this in itself should be a reflection that there are people that are actually interested in being a part of the conversations and the decision making. The thing is, we don't have numbers. Initiative that was created by whoever in the government to educate us on current affairs. How many of y'all actually spend your time going through those platforms for self-education wise?
No, I hear you, man. I hear you, and we'll give a chance to the audience as well to give. I see. We have two hands. We'll give a chance to the audience as well. I'll start with the first hand. What's the first hand? Okay. You can stand up and you can just ask the question. Then I'll repeat it to the guys watching online.
Like spending your time on spending your time on like on socials, doing what you're saying, like going through those pages and seeing if there are any, let's say, not vacancies per se, but like opportunities for like especially in the arts and culture industry. Like you would get your MAC, which recently posted an artist code, and like you would register yourself on that platform, but the feedback never comes. So how do you go around that, because you do send out an email to those people asking about your application, whatever, and then the feedback never comes back sometimes. So how do you go around that?
Okay, what do you, should I go to the, I'll go to the next question then.
No, you hear the question. No.
Huh?
The question was over.
Yeah.
I did hear the question.
Oh, you managed to catch it on the, okay, then you can go ahead, sister.
Okay, good evening everybody. My name is Thembelihle. I'm an artist, I'm a traditional healer. I'm also a finance graduate without a job. So our host was talking about youth not being interested. I want to start with my opinion of, I think we realize, but we miss the fact that our government has created, in Afrikaans we call it a bagage mentality.
Dependency.
Basically. When I talk about dependency, I talk about instead of registering your artist, for example, to be able to pay tax and make them employers, have them pay UIF, have them appointed at our arts department. Instead of that, you'd rather create a 350 system that continues to make these people dependent on you as the government itself. Another thing that I want to mention is us coming to, let's say for example, a community meeting. And you get there's an agenda that is being discussed. As youth, you are being excluded from that agenda. I heard you mentioning about youth involvement within the government and the governance and the what and the what. well, if we check, let's go to Parliament, where is the youth involvement there? It doesn't help we are here at local level, trying to run around, working at the district office, and working where, but the people up there makes the decisions. The people that are down here are doing groundwork for them. These people down here are building a foundation for them to just step on and say that I am. At this point, it feels like you must be on pension to be able to qualify to partake within the parliament. It's honest, and I'm sorry that I have to mention this because it's an experience that someone in the audience had. There was an AGM and the people complained that there was too many youth, so they postponed the meeting because the board was supposed to be chosen. So I think us going to G-Spot is us trying to hide away from the fact that we're actually being excluded from the government. Why is the government not capitalizing on building a healthy mental state for youth? You understand my point? How many problems are we sitting with? Mr. Sigonya mentioned that he's a second generation living in a shack.
Yeah.
And how is it that a master's student is not able to find worth of his qualification within his own town? Are we not supposed to capitalize on that? Instead, it's being seen as a threat to others. Are we not supposed to empower the youth then? So I think I totally disagree with you saying that the youth are not interested. It's not about not being interested, it's about being excluded. As Mr. Sigonya also mentioned that we are moving closer to election time. So now the youth are going to be, I almost swear, we're going to be controlled. What is this word? Someone help me.
Oh, manipulated.
Brainwashed. Sorry. So we are being brainwashed into thinking that we are in control. We are getting tenders. We are running up and down. We are having people lobbying for a government that has never even tried to implement any of their manifesto whereby they talk about unemployment. In all honesty, we are graduates with a lot of debt. We're sitting with student debt, honestly. So how are we not being interested? You'd have an advert of a job and then want experience. You are just coming out of varsity now. You were talking about visiting pages. I don't know how many sites I'm registered on to find a job. I had to open another email because the other email is full of suggestions of jobs that I qualify for, but I don't have the experience, so it automatically switches me out. You'd find you must have government experience on an entry level, whereby you have never even worked in government. So I think it's not even about us not being interested. It's about, and honestly, government doesn't cater for opportunities for us to talk about this. Like this, you'd hear a lot of promises now that we're moving towards the elections. You'd hear people are saying that we want to create jobs for the youth. You'd find there are youth political parties standing up right now, but if you go to the background, the same old people are funding these youth political parties, meaning that at the end of the day, we are going back to the dependency mentality. We are getting learnerships, internships that sustains us for 12 months. And when you sign the contract, they say, please note that this internship does not qualify permanent, what is it?
Yeah, employment.
Employment. So you are back to
where?
dependency.
Sure.
So it's really not about the interest of it. It's about how we are being catered for. We are given a tender that literally lasts for a section before the elections. Why isn't the community being cleaned throughout the year? Why isn't the EPW program?
That's how it was back then.
But we are here now.
Exactly. That's why I said since then up until now, there's a lot of things that actually went on. Some challenges that let me say it. Let me call it challenges. Okay. Some challenges that they themselves experienced within the party or within wherever.
Yeah.
The only thing is that from the point of view that we see it, as that such as she said, we're not being catered for, which is true. We are we are not being catered for, but in the very same way, I'm going to contradict that statement, saying that we are being catered for. As Manet, kan ek Afrikaans praat?
Sure.
As Manet, it goes both ways. For the mere fact that we're being catered for, ni almal van ons het access na whatever's being catered. Nie almal van ons het access. Ek het vroeër gevra oor die page en oor die website en die wat. Uit ons het we nou hier sit. Kom ek sê maar, die helft van die audience wat nou hier sit, weet nie dat sulke goed actually daar is, exist. We not all of us know that such things were put in place. So from we not knowing as to what was actually catered and how we get to be a part of the conversations of the decision makings or whatever that was put in place, to most of us not actually being interested. You would get someone sitting at home, as Jemlop say, hey, that's a community meeting. Gaan attend the community meeting. Dan gaan hy my sê, nee man toch, vadle makaga. Verstaan my groot met my?
No, I get you. But okay. I listen. Okay. You can continue your statement. I'm giving you like 2 minutes because we still have other topics to get into, and this one we're stretching
I
it.
want to conclude because Neo interrupted.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's honestly good. I actually want to direct this to you now, Mr. Gqalane. I want to direct this to you, and I want to quote you from one of your posts on Facebook, seeing that you are saying that we are being catered for. So a few weeks ago, the Mere Sita program was being launched at the NCR College Upington campus. It's the same thing that happened with the internships being launched at Moses Lens Community Hall in Louisville a few months ago. What happened at the internship launch was we all went with the expectation of we were going to be told, okay, this is how you apply for these things and whatnot. I also applied because it was advertised through the provincial treasury. So, and then also there was an external company from the private sector which also deals with accounting and financial services. So with the Miasita launch, we get there and the beneficiaries of the launch have already been chosen. These people already have been, they are now being given whatever it is that they're receiving. And I'm quoting you, we went there to go and watch other people receive things.
Exactly.
We went there and I'm sorry to quote Mike he spoke about the kids. That's basically why we went there, because there was nothing else that we got from
it. Yeah.
You understand? But now Mr. Gqalane is here, lobbying for the same people that didn't give him anything. What do you have to prove that they've given you, that they've catered for you?
You calling it? Can I answer? Can I answer?
I'm wondering, what is it that they have given you? How have they catered for you?
Can I answer?
Just hold up. Okay. I'll give you a chance to leave. I'll give you a chance to leave. Remember, guys, we are recording and the noises, they're being picked up. So we're not giving the others who are not here, who are joining us online, a fair opportunity to actually hear what we're talking about. And we're also not giving Andy a proper quality content, so that content that we can actually take from here and then go share with the others. As we spoke about, as Neo mentioned, that we do not have interest or we do not follow these things and whatever. So hopefully this conversation we're having here now is one that I'll see circulate on Facebook or whatever.
Can I make a suggestion? I think also you need to tell the audience to keep in mind, I think maybe isn't there like a time frame? How many
Yeah,
For questions,
I'll definitely start the stopwatch now.
hours? So, we don't want to end up recording too long, but like also so that like, so I'm thinking now, 2 other hands came up. So that once you can hear 1, 2, 3 actually.
3.
To respond to
Okay. Now you can answer and to the people that I'm going to give a chance to or opportunity to raise their questions. I'm going to give you like a minute and a half because we still have 3 more topics to get through. So after Neo responds, who's going to be the first one? Okay, it's going to be my brother here. Okay, he's captured.
You're not gonna,
And then
so you're not
it's
gonna
going
ask
to be
me.
the brother there and then the brother there. So Neo, you can respond.
No bullshit. I'm not lobbying. Lobbying is a very strong word. No, I'm not. It's funny that you mentioned that post because I kind of expected you to bring it up. I was upset. Okay, that I will never deny. I was upset. As to the jobs were there, everything was catered for. As to why I said that. You get that we are catered for, okay? Don't get me wrong. We are catered for. The jobs are being created. The opportunities are being created. The problem is a miscommunication from what I've picked up. That's number 1. Miscommunication between these people that are creating all of these opportunities and the jobs. A miscommunication between the people that are creating these opportunities and the jobs. And the youth.
So what are you saying is that the job opportunities they're not reaching the young people? Is that what you're saying? Or
That's basically what happened. What's happening in most cases. In most cases, the dangas, daar is mense. Ek ken nog nie. Wel, ja, ek gaan dit maar sê. Daar is mense in werksplekke. But werk met sekere goed.
Sure.
You have people doing the media coverage, you have people doing the communication, you have people doing like HR and the different sectors. Okay. Saying that every company has a sector where you communicate with people who are interested to keep up with what's happening within that company. Clothing sectors have clothing companies have sectors of communication where people from the company or people from the company communicate with you as buyer, as someone who would be interested in buying that particular.
I get what you're saying. So basically what you're saying is that if I'll use your example, clothing companies, they make an effort so that the product could get to you.
Exactly.
So then you cannot blame us, and that's why I get what she's saying as well. You cannot blame us for the opportunities not getting to us,
No,
or the communication not getting to us.
let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Alright.
There's that problem.
Yeah,
Apart from us not being interested,
sure.
there's hy probleem. The things are being catered for. Dan kom kry jy ons word nie gelaat weet van die goed nie. In most cases.
And who are you blaming for that? For wie blameer jy vir hy? Who are you blaming for that?
Jy kan nie vir my blameer because at the end of the day, die ding affecteer vir my ook. As she said, I woke up, ons almal het hy dag opgestaan. We went with expectations of, okay, nee, die werk is daar. Ons loop apply vir die werk. En dan moet jy kom hoor, of dan moet jy kom sien, nee man, is aan klaar mense wat gekies is. So, it being, jy het nie gehoor van die werkie, it's okay. I can't blame you for not knowing that this was out there. Dan kom kry jy, daar is sekere mense en die waarheid moet gepraat word. It might seem that I'm contradicting myself, but I'm just being honest because it's happening out there and it's affecting everyone, each and every one of us. Nie net vir die audience, maar vir my ook. Daar is sekere mense soos jy gesê het, jy kom creatief as daar's werk, dan hoor jy die werk het klaar is mense.
So they are gatekeepers.
They are gatekeepers, basically. So those are the problems that we, as the youth, are facing.
Yeah. Okay. No. I think we're about to wrap up this particular topic. I'll just go to the hands for 1 minute and 30 seconds. I'm gonna start a timer here. As soon as the time is done, I'm just gonna. Okay. Thembelihle. Can you speak louder, bro, so that we can pick up?
Nou, praat van mijn groot geluk, is de broeder van teenage pregnancy.
Sure.
Mijn groot geluk te zien is in Sali, als een job, I see, dat heel erg die meetings attend. Same with me, bro. Ik kom van een Isa waar mijn oom is heel erg die ANC meetings gaan attend, dat heel erg, dat is mijn oma praat van mijn oom is, bro. Praat van hoe die apart die jaren mijn oom is gejaagd van die politie, hoe dat weer gekript en hij heel erg. Hij zei alle mensen, bro, vandaag.
Kijk van Bejo.
Nog steeds. Alle jobs op en af zo, je kan praten van like een back then en now, nee. Op de change. Toen ik nou gepraat van, ik kwam van exactly, tot nu toe waar ik nou was, is hetzelfde. Van een positie naar een andere positie toe. Zo ik wil een woord met je over van wat is een change project. Van ik zeg niet dat het groot is, maar bro, ik zie 27 jaar, ik zie 27 jaar. Misschien is het blind. Ik zie niet meer change.
Okay.
Ik zie niks dat change. Zeg maar misschien lekker.
Change. Ik het wel
Just
Oh.
I think you must. Do you have a pen? Just make a note there, and then. But we're really about to wrap up this topic. My brother, you were captured. Sipo.
That's toys and puddings.
I just want to mention the point of order that as we move out of this democracy, Paballelo,
Yeah.
30 years, my brother, no change.
No change.
I am not here, standing here, preaching the manifesto of the EFF or whatever, but we are enough of this bureaucracy or whatever you want to call it, bureaucracy. We are enough of this. So that's my point of order. Not that there is no change.
No change.
Also, this, by the way, this government has done nothing. Every youth man is talking about 27 years, 30 years. There's youth man, sister, and young man, kid man, who are rising on this point, who are older than that haven't seen the change of the ANC. So we, as the root of this locus, which is Paballelo, we are coming here and we are trying to come up with solutions. And we are trying to sit here on the ballot, fighting for this beast that hasn't done anything.
Sure.
So what are
Fighting for this beast. Yeah. Okay, I think we're going to move after you've answered and after you've made a final remark based on our topic on what is happening in the ZFM region. I see your hand, but unfortunately we do have other topics to run through. But yeah, people are what I'm getting from this is that the audience is unhappy. They're not satisfied with what's happening in the ZFM region. They're not satisfied with our leaders. They feel like our leaders are not coming to us. We are being kept away from opportunities. We are being kept away from, as we spoke earlier in this conversation, from decision-making opportunities where decisions are made for us, but we're not involved. So now, final remarks. Maybe you want to answer before we move into the next topic, and then Thulani, you can also.
Thembelihle, I'm a groot man. Again, it can only, well basically, we're not seeing things in the same way. Now, I'm not speaking as someone who's basically lobbying or who's defending the ANC or whomever as public parties. I'm speaking as someone who was born and raised here, someone who is concerned as to where we are going as a community as a whole, not only as the youth, as a community as a whole. Saying that there was no change for the past 30 years up until date, I would say that it's not true. It's not true. There has been change. Change can be positive and change can be negative. Dating back 30 years up until now, we went from a country who suffered under the apartheid era. Okay. We went from a country that suffered under the apartheid era to a country who fought against the apartheid era and who successfully overthrew the apartheid era. Mandela came, Mandela went. After Mandela came Mbeki. If you go do your research as to what Mbeki's views were, as to what Mbeki did as the president of South Africa back then, compare it to what Jacob Zuma did after Mbeki, and coming to what Ramaphosa did after Zuma. Since 30 years, for the past 30 years up until now, there has been a lot that has happened. We've seen change for the greater good, and we've seen change for the worse. So basically, the change has been there. Yes, it has not always been good. It has not always been good, but it has not always been bad. There are jobs that were created. There are opportunities that were created. In this 30 years, there's a lot that happened. There were schools that weren't there that were built. There are clinics that weren't there that were built. As to how the quality of those things are, vary to the quality of how the government built them in comparison to how the community took care of whatever infrastructure was built. There's a lot that's been happening. As I know, actually I prepared information. As I know, we're gonna sit here all night.
Okay, no. I get what you're saying. Unfortunately, there will still be an opportunity to ask other questions. We're moving into a topic that is quite similar and that quite relates to job creation and also unemployment and all of that. So we are moving in that direction. Maybe something will be said and then you'll just add on what you just currently wanted to say, but he's going to give his final remark.
I was about to suggest, how about the question can still be asked, but if we move on to a different point, that previous question will still remain relevant with whatever.
Sure, definitely.
So interesting. Maar I think when we talk about change, I think the topic is too redundant on jobs. There is a lot of things that go into what makes a country a country.
True.
You can't talk about infrastructure and how they were taken care of if, for example, if you look at all the street lights in Paballelo, how many yellow lights do you see at night as compared to street lights being bright? So how can then, it's probably a very vague example to make, but what I'm trying to say is, wanneer laas was hy ligtige service?
Maintain.
So dan wie het dan die infrastructure gemors?
I get you.
So I think also it's also a point of, yes, we've seen change, want dit die straat ligte gehad back then nie. It's an honor to be able to walk at night and to see where you're going to. But it defeats the purpose if die straat is meer brighter as die ene. Dan gaan ons terug by how have you taken care of infrastructure. Dan gaan jy 'n resort toe. Wil jy vir my sê die manier hoe die hospitaal nie eens lyk soos 'n state-of-the-art hospitaal is, ons pasiënte se fout dat dit so lyk. If you look at how understaffed that institution is, then you come back to say yes, ons sien change, maar hoekom in die change aan lyk of die change kom aan net met criminals en die hele ander goeie met jy. So now you need to praise the criminals, but where's the entire loaf of the bread, man, bro? No, ek moet vol raak van criminals because criminals can be pointed out to. Yes, there have been things that have changed. My bro, my Zali had nooit a varsity degree gekry nie. I have one. But now here's the similarity between me and her. Ons is altyd werkloos. So nou ek moet bly voel vir die feit dat ek het 'n geleentheid gekry om skool toe te gaan.
Maar jy kan dit nie verder vat nie.
So where then do we meet each other halfway? So dan ek verstaan dan ander mense sal dit sien in 'n ander lig, and when you speak the way I have just spoken, you always seem like someone wat net wil 'n oorlog wees, and you seem ungrateful, and you seem like someone wat you will net beklei, but at the end of the day you look at your reality and the person that is telling you to be grateful, onze realities is dieselfde. That's why Sylvia Lucas had the audacity to say, gepraat van back then, said onder bome goed geleer, it's not back then. Jy is 'n student en jy moet leer en jy die kragie my bro, jy 'n lig wat net 4 ure hou van jy charge hom by die son en dan is hy weer. But now you need to be thankful for that.
Breadcrumbs.
We were both at the same institution when Fees Must Fall happened twice. Did the fees fall? No. So there's more to this change that we're talking about apart from jobs, man.
Yes, there is more, but I did not limit it to jobs.
No, I'm not attacking.
No.
I'm just,
yes,
speaking in terms of the like general consensus. In terms
I hear you.
Daar is goed om oor dankbaar te wees. Soos jy gesê het, there are things that have changed for the good, and there are things that became good and then just went
back to exactly.
It went worse to how it was.
Okay.
We talk about daar is goede wat vir ons cater as youth. We have a youth parliament at parliament. But I think then the question would be, hoeveel mense in die Noordkap of van ZFM is deel van dit? En hoekom is ons deel van dit? How does the information then flow from parliament to provincial to hoekom in 'n mens die goed sien op die nuus and you see other people being part of these things, dan vra jy yourself, waar bly ons dan mee, bro?
No, we're going to continue into our conversations.
I have a suggestion, please.
Sure.
I wanted to make a suggestion because there's a lot of rising points regarding this topic.
Yeah.
I heard that you said that the questions will still be valid.
They'll still be relevant,
yeah. For us to also consider time, can we then have all of the raising points, because they're being recorded, right? Let them be raised, and can we refrain from wanting to debate on each point that are being made?
You know what the problem is, nah? I hear your suggestion, but the problem is that we will then, can I then suggest that if you do have a question, do you mind taking it down on your phone or just grabbing a piece of paper from someone next to you and then just jotting down your questions instead of us just going back and forth, because we will literally spend almost an hour just discussing one thing, and that was supposed to be the introduction to today's podcast. I want to talk something. I want us to discuss something that I've been seeing on Facebook, right? And with that said, I'll say that each and every person is entitled to their own opinion, though your opinion is not that of the network, but you are entitled to your own opinion. As long as you give it to us respectfully, we'll accept it. There's a rally happening this weekend. We've seen how people are excited. We've seen the lineups. We've seen who's coming. Some people are excited. I was sitting here when we were busy preparing the podcast, and the ladies at the back were talking about what they're going to wear to the rally, and when we get to our homes as well, we can literally see the excitement around the rally. But then, as I was browsing on Facebook, I then started seeing comments around the rally that are different from the excitement. Comments that are
Negative.
not negative per se, but there are concerns around. There are concerns, you know, around the rally. People are calling it a wasteful expenditure. That is what other people are calling it, because we've discussed now our dissatisfaction and our satisfaction with the service delivery within our community. We just discussed that topic, and now people are asking, why don't you guys take that money
And use it.
Throw it into the community, give young people opportunities, create jobs, fix our infrastructure, you know? So I want us to have a topic around the feel of that. And the reason why I introduced this topic with saying that each and every person is entitled to their own opinion, because I know there'll be people who agree with the rally, because they'll say that, but other political parties are also rallying. If you look at the EFF was in Bloemfontein last weekend, and they were rallying. They had artists there. I know they had the guys from Podcast and Chill. I'm not sure of the other artists, but there were other artists there as well. Last week, the DA had something. The DA also brought its people who they had to pay. They had also venues to pay. They had catering to provide.
Even the Patriotic Alliance had one. Yeah.
You understand? All these so people are unhappy with the rallies, or with this specific rally, the ANCC and Nova rally. So that's why I said each and everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So I'll start with you again, and then I'll just ask you, what is your feeling around the rally? Do you then agree that it's a wasteful expenditure, or should the ANC also be given the same courtesy to rally as we go towards May the 29th?
I think it's important to take note of how politics is played. I say played because politics is a game, not your GTA type of game. But if there's an ideology that we have always underwent throughout my undergrad, which is game theory, and politics actually substantiates from game theory. If you can take time and read on game theory, and you'll understand how the world works, you'll understand why some major companies are major companies. There is always a win or lose type of mentality around it too. So rallying is part of campaigning. It's part of
Gaining attraction.
Trying to get your voters excited for regardless of how you rally. One party could decide they're going to rally just in here, and the other one could be hiring some major nice venue that is expensive or whatnot. Yes, there's money that is being poured into it, and I'm glad that I'm speaking from a point of neutrality, because I don't subscribe, I'm not affiliated to any political party. I don't have a membership anywhere. So it really goes to say that undisclosed amount that is spent for preparations and the actual happenings of Saturday might as well have been utilized somewhere else. But is that the same kind of handout mentality that we want? Why then, if there's an event, then we want that expenditure to be poured in? Why shouldn't it be expenditure that's there all the time, regardless of what happens?
For anything.
Kan ek sê gegee word vir daai tyd en dis dit en dan daai geld how it cycled into. Hy gaan deur verskillende channels en as jy by jou uitkom, dan kry jy maklike 10 cent van daai geld. So did it still help you?
No.
It didn't. So allow political parties to be political parties. But we also need to be realistic to say that there can be ways of trying to de-geld wat julle hier het vir die ding. You could have made it like a fund, wat seker daar is van laaste jaar wat Waterloo goed geloof was. Why couldn't that have been maybe something that Lee bleeds into, you know. It could be that. It could be a matter of ons wil maar net vir julle kom wys dat ons is a political party and we want to show you that we're here. Ons is spesifiek die lokaal gekies because we know the Northern Cape is an ANC stronghold. So ons het nog nooit 'n so groot rally ding gehou nie. So might as well. Why do you think the DA did their rally where they did it? They didn't do it in Cape Town. It's because you want to try and get closer, right? It's politics. You campaigning, so you speel my nie gedagte man. So ek vat dit volgende jaar ring vasmaak toe. Ons was nog nooit in ring vasmaak nie, so ons ook daai hele mense. That's just how it goes, my bro. You just playing with, you're trying to get as much people on your side to create a connection. So ek say that kind of wasteful expenditures, but on the other end, it could be an advantage for their campaign. So it's twofold. One can sit and say it's wasteful expenditure and whatnot, but at the end of the day, that party has the right to campaign regardless of which political party it is. And rallying is part of campaigning.
Sure.
So it's like you're putting up an advert at a location to say that we are ready for whatever. So it's basically just boxes. They promote their fights. It's basically, this is what I'm saying, it's like a game basically. So basically promote oneself. So I guess.
But when we talk about, I get what you're saying. I really understand it in terms of when you look at it from a political point of view. But do you then think it's what message does it send to the young people, to the young person in Upington, right? When you're seeing all these celebrities and you're seeing all this noise being made around this one event, right? And the people who are making the noise, and I think that's where people are becoming upset. It's because of the people that are making the noise. It's the people that have been in power for how many years? For 30 years. And throughout these 30 years, we've seen the plight of corruption, of how corruption is affecting each and every community, each and every person, whether you are
Can I cut in? You mentioned corruption.
Yes.
This is probably very controversial, but I'd rather be that guy and just be honest. Even with preparation for this, there was corruption. Daar was zeker geld iewers.
I get it.
So I guess it's fair enough te kan sê dat hy geld kon meen en iets anders gedoen het.
Ek hoor jy.
Maar nou hier is die ding, corruption sal nooit dood as die ANC uit power.
No, definitely.
It will still be.
It will be continuous.
Exactly. Just be there. Dat dan corruption die julle sê is daar 'n begrafenis is.
Exactly.
Like just typical example, there's corruption at your house when there's a funeral. Van dinges maak wil jy sê the 300,000 policy van, you know.
Even very scared pop.
So it's not, I don't think, it just so happens that we have a party that unfortunately we need to hold it accountable for, and it's been in power since some of us have been born. So ek kan nie 'n ander mens blameer behalwe ek sien dat net vir jou.
Exactly.
Ek sien nie ek het nog nooit 'n ander mens gesien het ook 'n beerd gekry en sy floppe aangevang en vir ons hoog in lig gevat wat ek ook kan verantwoordelik hou. Unfortunately, it is the governing party that is scheduled to have the rally here on the 18th that we then hold accountable to say that.
Okay, before I get now into this conversation, then from a political stance, right? You mentioned the fact that accountability, right? The ANC is the people that we need to hold accountable, mostly because they govern the country, right? The president is from the ANC. So, would it not have been politically wise to, this election? It's monumental. It's monumental. Would it not have been wise for the ANC then to use a different strategy of campaigning instead of doing the kumbaya of bringing artists, setting up stages, paying for expensive venues? I know they're expecting around 15,000 people, so they need to cater for those 15,000 people. Those people need to travel. Would it not have been wise? No, but I mean that wouldn't it have been wise to campaign differently.
That's why I'm saying
But
desperate
don't
times, desperate measures. So
So this is a desperate measure.
basically, the reason why I'm saying that is I see Tapo say in the audience. We went to Joburg with a CIFSA related event not too long ago. And I remember the first thing I noticed, and I guess maybe there was not, the memo was there, but the expectation was a bit different from what. Coming in, there was more ANC branding than CIFSA branding. And it made me wonder as to what event are we attending? I thought I'm coming here for something different, and this entire thing more seems like we were just invited to attend something that was being hosted by someone else. What I noticed from then is that it seems wherever there is, especially this campaign of this year's elections, since you said it's a monumental one, this one is really do or die, because 2021's local elections showed us a lot of what is to come for this year's elections. And you look at the amount of events where young people are gathered around that the governing party has made themselves available. Dan vraag jy yourself, die afgelopen 2 jaar, were you as that involved in all of these events? Or is this just a way to campaign and mess with the mind that I'm there and julle kan iets hou, maar ek wil ook hier wees because julle moet my sien ek is hier so. So now there's a rally, and it's understandable why people have been crying out saying that julle kom reeds na 'n dorp toe waar kyk hier word swaar gekry in Upington, bro. As 'n klein dorp die, but ek dink een van ons elke dag van ons lewe, when we walk around Ikasletu, we see a bunch of happy and satisfied people. You'd be lying to yourself if you say elke dag as jy opstaan, elke mens wat jy gesien het vir die dag is baie gelukkig en tevrede met die manier hoe hy lewe. You'd be lying saying that. Especially if you look at the amount of young people. 7 uur die oggend wanneer mense moet werk toe gaan, hoeveel jong mense sien jy 7 uur die oggend sit en maak niks? As jy maar 'n mens nie wil niks maak, daar is niks om te doen nie. Ek gaan nie G-spot toe because ek na G-spot toe gaan. Ek gaan G-spot toe because dis die enigste ding wat ek kan voel dit involve me. Sounds very contradicting and controversial to say that, but why I'm saying that is because but like, I think really, to be honest with this weekend, I'm not excited.
You're not?
And I am not excited for the fact that Ekfu Manet, you are bringing artists, fair enough, and you're playing on the game of Sayatandi Entertainment, Singabandabacha. And baie van die mense wat op die line-up is, was nog nooit al in Upington gewees, so meaning the excitement doubles. It's not only just about the party that is hosting the rally, but now
It's about who's coming.
As jy baie van die jong mense vra, what is the main reason why they're going to the rally this weekend? I can bet my life on it, it won't be because of the ANC. It will be because of the fact that ek gaan sien vir Casper.
From Akazi.
But my presence daar sal kan 'n video gevat word to show the numbers. So indirectly, ek gee numbers and an indication that as a young man, I'm here too.
And I still
and that
believe.
is the target that needs to be reached now, because majority of the political parties that came up in the past 2 years have literally left with a huge chunk of young people.
Young people, yeah.
So the dent is going to be felt, whether the governing party becomes victorious again or not, but the dent is going to be there. The dent in the decline in numbers. We're just being realistic. I'm not being pessimistic. It's just a reality, because no new political party would be formed and gain numbers without those numbers having been
Coming
taken from somewhere.
Somewhere.
So meaning a dent will be felt.
Sure.
Already the dent was felt when 2 metros were lost in 2021. What is now going to be the indication? So meaning I can't really do, me for politics related, I can't really do because I can't seem to catch. So basically I'm going back to what G-Sport caters for, the groove.
A groove.
Now let's bring you into this conversation. What is your take, and with what he has said, right? With just give me a second. With what he has said, right? But one thing I took from he said a lot, but one thing I took from it is that pictures will be taken, and those pictures will be posted to social media where most young people are, right? And those pictures will give an image that young people still believe in this particular party, that young people are still involved in this particular party. So if anyone probably in your house would come across you and say, no, what do you think? Should I go to the rally this weekend? What would you say to them?
I wouldn't be able to actually tell people to go. But if you feel like you should go to the rally, then go to the rally. You'd get someone who would go to the rally for going to enjoy themselves, as Mahrotman said, for the groove. You will get someone who is not going there for the groove, but if I'm not for case palapsin, dan kanema vietra resto. Dan as a mensa anatu salhan with hopes that okay, this is calling me as youth back to the organization. It's a way of calling me as youth back to organization. Whether coming to the point to whether there could have been better ways of
Campaigning.
And spending the money. Yes, they could. There are better ways to campaign with, but then would these ways guarantee the numbers that the organization lost? Would it guarantee them to return to the party? Because basically I see it from a point of view, okay,
I didn't get it. I don't understand. Did you understand it?
I did.
Did you?
I see it from a point of view of everyone rallying, campaigning in this way. Ons doen shows, ons bring artists in Ireland. What I see it as a way to call back the youth that lost interest in politics. Mensa as Jerry buite wat sê nee man, ek stel nie belang in politics. Jy's 'n ou mens dan. As baie ou mense that they do not cater for my needs or for what I would want to see or for my enjoyment or whatever. Yes, there are better ways to spend money, but don't you think that political parties rallying in this way, campaigning in this way, is a way of getting us is a way of getting us back to?
Okay. No. Let me, before I take hands, let me. I don't want to bash the rally. I really do not want to because
You don't want to end up something controversial.
Exactly. But I mean, listening to what you guys are saying now, right? And I'm just as you're speaking, I'm thinking, and it brings me to something that I researched. Do you know that the Stats SA dropped the unemployment stats yesterday? They dropped the unemployment stats yesterday, and they showed that from the first quarter to this quarter, unemployment has risen by 0.8%, and the unemployment, it sounds very significant, but it's a lot. And and the point that I'm getting to, within that significance or insignificant as it might sound, majority of those people unemployed currently are women and are black women, right? And for me, it's if you've attended some of these events like I have throughout the week and the build-up events, and then you get stats like this, and then we know what happens in some of these events, and I'm just being realistic, and I feel like as a host I have responsibility of being truthful, right? We'll see our young girls who have formed part of this 0.8%. We'll see them this weekend. Yeah, well, and when I see a young girl basically selling herself to these politicians. Because this is, if we're being realistic, this is sometimes what happens at these events. You'd get to a table of some of our leaders, and you'll see girls half their age. Some of them, they even have daughters who are the same age, and they're getting bought alcohol, and they get, isn't it? That's why I'm saying, shouldn't the African National Congress take a different route of campaigning when it's even this event? It's going to add to the social ills that we have in our community, right? Our daughters are being bought, our black girls are being bought.
We have young brothers getting murdered in their own house.
But you see, that's so. My thing is when I don't know how to put this so that I can't
Put it like
no, I don't know how to
Put it as it is.
like in a neutral. Try to put it in a very neutral way. Like,
Yeah, like for me, it's very disheartening that when you get to these events and you see how women are being treated, and then the people hosting these events are the people that are responsible for the change, and they are the people that are supposed to be taking care of our vulnerable generation or our vulnerable population, which forms black women. They fall into that category of being vulnerable because they were previously disadvantaged. First of all, because of their skin color, some opportunities will be kept away from them. And then you see at these events how these women are being treated. Yeah, well, I don't know if I'm making sense. I don't know if I'm making sense. So we'll go to hands and then.
Just before, can I say something before you take the hands with what you just mentioned with the stats, or is there going to be something?
No. Let's first go to the hands, and then I'll give you a chance to close off the conversation. Where will we start?
How many hands are there?
How many hands are there? Okay, one. I see 1, 2, 3.
4.
Okay, 4. I'll start here.
Okay. My question relates to you. Not that something that we are all facing or all chasing.
No, it's open conversation.
It's a
I think
discussion.
that you proudly say you're standing for that party, the three-letter party, ANC and stuff. So I'm coming back to the rally. Guys, this rally happened where?
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Happened before when? Before coming to Upington, where it happened?
Wasn't it in Kimberley?
In Kimberley, yeah.
The Kimberley?
In Northern Cape.
Thank you. Where's Upington?
Also in the Northern Cape.
Wasting that whole cash. People wasted in Kimberley. Coming and wasting it again here.
That's
Listen.
Just give him a chance. Give him a chance.
Think that you are taking that side, bringing that whole bunch of people this side, and on the same point, how many local artists are on that same page? Ne?
Okay.
We guys, and there's nothing that you guys can do that will change, not my mind, most youth mind. If you would go to that rally and saying that we are going back to our roots, bringing us artists, bringing us the most artists that we want me to go back, where you already messed. First clean up the mess. If you can clean up the mess, maybe we would come back. But really guys, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time because but if you can really just put it on an open slate, what will the rally do? Really? Nothing.
Are you meaning nothing tangible, right? Because
There's nothing tangible there.
oh yeah.
Because I don't have no drink for Casper Lobsing.
Yeah.
That's what we are happy. Verstaan je? As een hoorkappen, Kimberley is genoeg geweest.
I hear you.
Okay, the box can come through.
Is the name. One thing we should try and not to be is to keep on complaining. We are currently complaining about the ANC, about the rally, that the DA did, that EFF did, that EFF did. That's in their budget, they're supposed to do it.
Exactly.
They also did it. But now the thing is that what they are currently doing with the
with the rally is the local lineup. I inquired because I also wanted to get artists on the lineup, and I was sent from one person to the next person, and I got the person I was supposed to speak to, and I was told that there is not a budget for local artists. The budget is not enough
For local artists.
And then I asked, can you perhaps tell me how much is spent on the national artist? I wasn't given an answer.
Because I'm sure, like, if you cut a Casper, you can take about 20 people
within the local.
I get your point.
You can get more, man, bro.
Yeah, no, but I mean, just for the sake of conversation, I get what you're saying. All right.
That guy charges, bro.
Now we must remember the money that they are going to be spending on the national artist is within their means. They are campaigning. They want the numbers. So if Casper is going to bring the numbers on them, why not? So we can't be looking against them while they are spending their money. Yeah,
In the
they're supposed to
budget.
be. So we can't be looking against that and blame them for no, and say that that money could have been used for employment of businesses. Last week, I'm part of the beneficiaries going to be getting some funding. Something that he never, I'm sorry for pointing you out, that Neo just mentioned now is, it's true, we're not doing enough to get opportunities. There are no opportunities. You just said no, because as mensen wat opstaan en weet dat niks om te doen, it's impossible that niks om te doen.
There's always something.
It is impossible. I'm not saying about the opportunities not to do, on waar het heet. It ended no platform for creators. Om die kort te eten, nou ons doen niet de platform gebruik om net te complainen. Kom ons brengen laat die solutions.
Solutions, yeah.
Die vanaf die solutions als prinsen naar die andere mensen. Om te complainen, hier laat het alles nergens. Take hope zoals een leden complain. Kom ons kom hier met solutions op voeren. Hij zal het liefst, dan kan die platform nog recht gebruiken, niet net om te complainen.
Thank you very much for that contribution, man. Who's the next person? Okay. Can we wrap it up with you now? We'll wrap it up. You can go.
I wanted to raise like an opinion by answering regarding what you said about the money, the relay, or the shape experience. Remember, that's also like a job opportunity for someone else. There's an event hoster who was booked to create a new thing. And which other way do you want ANC to like entertain people? Should they hire gospel or professionals or whatever to tell them to go? Because this is like an experience with someone who can't get to that event or whatever which is happening there. There are people who are like currency financially, you can't see Skomoda, you can't see Mufasa or whatever. And also I heard someone talking about services. Sorry for going back about services.
Sure.
Remember our own people, they are the ones who are creating Gqalane and coming back to us and selling them to us again. So how do you blame the running party or the institution something that you know of and something that you are busy doing? I'm making sense of it.
Get it? Okay, no, thank you. Thank you very much. I'll come back. I have something on the point that you raised.
Speak as fast as I can. Quickly, I also want to go back 2 minutes to Neo. The only catering that we are getting is noodles like and a was central place. You say that we moved from apartheid, but we only moved out of the setup of apartheid. The oppressed are still in charge. They are just backstage now. I think that we need to start opening our eyes. Sorry, we need to start opening our eyes to see how we are being brainwashed. Something I mentioned in my second year when I was doing arts was we were creating a play called Scavengers. And I gave them an example of how we are being brainwashed, whereby we are given nice things to not focus on the things that are happening at the back. Quick example, in front of the Union Building, so anyone that has been in Pretoria, in front of the Union Buildings is a park that gives you free Wi-Fi. Wow, it comes back to the dependency, meaning that, okay, you guys take the Wi-Fi so that we can do whatever it is that we want to do here at the back, so we distract you. That's how I feel about the rally. It's another distraction to say that, okay, let's give you Mufasa, let's give you Skomota, so you guys can enjoy whatever it is so that you guys cannot actually focus on the actual problem. Instead of hosting a rally, come build us a clearing agent whereby there's people working every day, sorting out CVs, saying that, okay, Jet is advertising, who qualifies, okay, you guys take this package to Jet. So meaning the people that are 7 a.m. sitting outside know that on CVs of the clearing agency of the human resources company. You understand my point? And I'm not disputing what Bob said. Trust me, I'm not. What I'm saying is that to a point where engines steers dasser. They used to take CVs and the CV literally went in a dustbin. On top of a dustbin, there was a label saying CVs. And I told someone one day, this is exactly what happens to our CVs when we go take them there. So instead of trying to rally or to campaign to pay someone 200K, okay, you could have paid local asters 2,000 because equipment that is run for a thing because my standby level is not serviced. I don't have electricity. So when my 27 salary for me and thank you. But instead of doing that, come and teach me how to hunt instead of wanting to just come and entertain me. That's honestly how I feel about it. I'm cutting myself because you put me so much.
I don't know for how long we're going to engage this because there was a lot said, man. There was a lot said. I'll just go into the one of the local artists and then also the one of, for me, right? The reason why I agreed with his statement of who mentioned they could have used local artists, for me is rather feed, light a house in this community then, because if like you said, you told us your need, you showed a tank. There's another local artist here that his girlfriend might have just given birth. Baby needs formula, baby needs clothes. So if you're paying him that 3.5, it's not only benefiting him, it's benefiting the child as well. It then extends to the mother because now she can focus on raising her child instead of having to stress about baby's needs, right? And then I want to touch on the situation of, on the thing of solutions. No, not solutions, that the fact that Tabong said there are opportunities. But you know, we need to be honest and we need to be realistic. You know how tiring it is to keep submitting CVs, to keep going, to running to this place and then running to this place and then running to this place. And sometimes you'd find that you go and attend a workshop where they say there's possible employment after completion. And then you'll find that someone who was not even at the workshop but knows someone in HR, that person gets the job. Tell me, how do you feel the next day? You're going to be discouraged. And we need to also bear in mind that plays with a person's mental health, and then we have a community where alcohol abuse it's beyond. So what first thing you do to console yourself, because you don't want to show at home how this missed opportunity made you feel, is you go to your friends and then you end up drinking, and that leads to other things. So let's just be realistic of the fact that I don't think anyone would just wake up in the morning and then decide that, okay, no, but I'm gonna go sit in the corner. That person is probably depleted. That person is probably depleted. That person has probably went everywhere possible to find an opportunity. But then you see the others around you, they're progressing. And those who, and let's be honest, in our community, sometimes you see people progressing who don't even make it an effort. You'll see this person working this job today, and then they leave that job because for groove, maybe they're supposed to work on Saturday. Then they decide, nah, man, there's a rally, so I'm going to the rally, that job can go. And then 2 weeks later, you'll see that person in a different uniform. How are you supposed to feel? So I get the fact that really there are opportunities. There are opportunities, there are things that come to us, but also we need to bear in mind that ek dink iemand sal net in die oggend opstaan en besluit om te sê, nee man, me I'm going to go sit in the corner, me I'm going to go smoke hubbly, me I'm going to go do this.
But still, in being honest, we have to accept the fact that we actually have such people around us. We actually have that friend wanneer ek vroeg opstaan en werk te loop soek, dan voel hy, nee man, hy gaan maar eerder pijbele broek of hy gaan maar eerder by die winkel opstaan om met weer aan te spien, want hy die mense. And with those people, it actually makes it hard for the youth, for the majority of the youth, to find employment. Apart from there being gatekeepers, is Jerry buite wat by Sparlap werk. Is Jerry buite dan dat Terra nou 'n merchandising t-shirt dan. Verstaan jy? Terra het werk geloop soek. Hoeveel vriende wat Terra nie het die. Het die op hy dag wanneer Terra gebesluit het ook vandag ek loop soek werk. Dan het hy ander ons gebesluit die man choose. As jy iets hoor daar so laat weet maar ek gaan nie daarna doen nie. Verstaan jy my? Hoeveel van uit hoeveel jeug wat werk loop soek. Hoeveel jeug bly nie by die huis om te kom sê hey man, laboer af vir my ook of hy is my CV of nee man ek het die les om man na toe te gaan ja, so gaan my eerder op paper by die space. That's what it means to, as you must say, we have to be honest. We have to look at everything. Nie net sekere dinge, ja, daar is werk, want is voorgekijker, maar daar is mense wat die werk terughou nie. Verstaan jy my punt?
I think this will probably be like the last takeaway point that I gave on this. I think it's fair enough to say that there are numerous opportunities, and I won't lie, there are. I have been a part of things wat ek kan met blijdskap sê ek is die enigste in Upington wat het gemaak by 'n soort. En niemand sal weet van dit. En dan kom ek terug na myself toe, nou, hoe het ek uitgevind van die ding en hoe kan ek weer terugkom en ander mense sê van die ding. Maar nou gaan dit terug by, you have such depleted young people that they come with that mentality of, gaan soek maar vir my daar, of hoor maar vir my daar. Nou moet jy vir yourself sê, of maak, wees net eerlik met yourself. Daar's twee verskillende mense wat jy sal so ding sê. As iemand wat letterlik lui is, wat totaal en al net van garganse af vir lewe. En as daar iemand wat dit sal vir jou sê, because jy begin vra jy was 'n bedklok, joh. Ek gaan 'n kry dan.
Staan aan elke.
So miskien is dit hou my vraag gaan ek dis aan jy kry van. Ek is so klaar hier binne. Ek is moeg om te gesê wat we regret to inform you.
Ken nie weer want om te draai.
Of as jy gaan apply vir dinge, hoor jy, nee man, wil jy nie volgende keer try om saam met Putvivi te gaan praat?
Sure.
Do you know how much it takes to be able to sell yourself to another person so that you can be able to live? I respect such people, I won't lie, because I don't have the guts to do that. Dat play ek maar werkloos my broers, ek moet hoor, ek moet Putvivi gaan praat. Because when I was studying, Putvivi het die gewaring van, yeah, hoe eet die man? Where does his motivation come from to be able to cross night for a whole 6 months? Jonge pressures, hierso op jou, jy kry 'n state om yourself laat te vat because you need to be focusing on wanting to try and make a change in your life. Dan kry jy die ding. And it's a celebration and your family's happy. And you exhaust all means, you get yourself on LinkedIn, you get yourself on Indeed, even die Putvivi wat jy van gehoor het, low-key you kind of talk to the guy, so you try to exhaust alles wat jy kan. And then you get to a point where maar elke deur, al sien hierdie deur hier in Paballelo, maar die deur wil nie oopmaak vir my.
Of jy maak voor jou gesig toe.
Dan kry jy hier next door. Die mens is maar net gelaat weet, just kry jy papiertjies reg man. Now I don't have that plug to kry my papiertjies reg. So it's 10 times harder for me, even with the existing opportunities that are there. Dan word het gesê, maar jy hoef nie te gaan werk iewers. Jy kan 'n werkgewer op is. Oh wow, that is a nice. Let me liberate myself. Maar nou gaan apply op my spala vir 'n besigheidserf en I'm being
qualified.
Ek hardloop rond op en af, hoor jy nie gaan praat en dinges maak. Nee, jy het jou papiere ingevat. As jy daar kom vir die erf, nie jou papiere is nie weer daar nie. Of jou papiere is daar, maar nie die erf sal weer gegee vir pasta mama. And yet you still expect me, my gas store should be at the same level all the time. It depletes somewhere.
It's true.
You get drained by having tried so many options. And the mense wat die knowledge het, is die fair, is die by you, but they just don't care about giving it to you.
It's true.
It comes at a price and you put your bottle and go. Ek moet put this ice boy wees whenever he's around. So it's the reality of mense hier in ZFM. It's unfortunate we don't want to be pointing fingers and calling out mangmangs to make an example. I'll make an example of myself. Jy sê I've applied to somewhere, but it holds me back. So, ons moet regtig diese platform die wat van 'n jong mens
gecreëerd is.
available gemaak
Ja, ja.
which shows the means wat mense wil try om 'n verskil te maak. En ons moet dit gebruik sodat Bob sal sê to come up with solutions. But it really does also help to put the reality out there.
To see what's actually
That this
going
is a reality for us. So from what we've put out there in this reality, what are we going to be able to do about it? And it's far. It's like that's why I took away the point when I started answering the rally question is to politically they are inclined, like he said, to we can then pinpoint who kon die geld gebruik was, but at the end of the day, but die hele punt van die bron van die ding hier is, daar is nie soveel geleenthede, daar is geleenthede, maar die geleenthede, hy kom met soveel mure, die ding is oor die mure, dan is hy mure afgewaard, er is aan die ene, die word rondgestuur, ek kan pinpoint someone wat geapply het, hoeveel keer vir 'n erf, does he have an erf, no? Maar as verwagting dat sy besigheid moet suksesvol is en of as hy gebruik nou vir die rally, is there nothing that they could have helped there with the rally, for instance?
No, but honestly, as you said, as much as we need to come up with solutions, we also need an opportunity to vent, because this might just sound like we are venting and we are complaining, but it probably gives us perspective to another person who's watching from home that, okay, I'm not the only one going through all of this, right? So let me try again tomorrow.
Can I also add that we need to know who we need to go to? On the phantom, the Gqalane, we don't know who.
And unfortunately, we invited some of the people we know where to go to, but they didn't pitch. So let's move into our last topic, gents, audience. Let's move into our last topic. Something that has been spoken about extensively on Facebook, on Twitter. I remember I was in a Twitter space yesterday where they was talking about this for 3 hours. We've seen all the TikToks. We've seen Musi Maimani speak about it yesterday. He spoke about it today. All the political parties are weighing in on it. And this is the NHI bill. It's no longer a bill, it's an act because it's now been signed into law. But for those who do not know, let me just read this. The National Health Insurance is South Africa's strategy to achieving universal health coverage. The NHI is a fund from which the government will buy healthcare services for South Africans from healthcare providers both in the private and public sector. The NHI will make healthcare more affordable by reducing the cost of healthcare for all. It acts as a medical aid for everyone, and all of us will contribute to this fund through taxes and special contributions in line with what we can afford. I want us to bear that in mind. It will ensure that everyone is entitled to free healthcare when they need it. There will be no fees charged at the facility because the fund will cover the cost of care. So that is in a nutshell what the NHI is. So I want us to talk about it for a little bit because it has been a discussion that's been going on online. Neo has weighed in on it online. I don't know if you, Thulani, have weighed in on it. I've said my 2 cents. So I'll start with you, Neo. Okay. I'll start with you. What is your take on this bill? And with what the summary said, how it's going to be paid for, what it's going to do, it's going to give affordable health care to all South Africans and those within our country.
So basically what the whole bill means to me is that, I mean, everyone knows how poor the quality of public health care is. I mean, we see the clinic, we see Dr. Erisul Surti Hospital, we see what's this? Upington Clinic, Cordonia, Tien and Rosedale. On Sino like Uleki Pleka. On Sino Uleki Pleka, and they are not of the best quality as compared to private healthcare facilities.
Sure.
So basically what the NHI is, it's means to upgrade public healthcare systems to be on the same level as to private healthcare systems. That's the pros. That's the pros, okay? Meaning we get medicine, we get nurses, we get doctors, we get equipment, and all. What a lot of people, what the concerns are, and what most people are reflecting upon negatively, is that tax would increase. Immigrants would benefit. That's something that someone said on
Definitely.
in a comment on my post, that immigrants will benefit. The thing with tax money increasing, ek mag maar klink as a hypocrite, or ek mag maar ignorant klink of wat, maar do we really have to live off of freebies? Because all these things, they need money. Verstaan me mooi. Die hele goed nodig geld.
Sure.
The state of our economy toelaat dit nie vir ons om maar net vir die goed te voorsien without it coming directly out of taxpayers' money. Terselfdertyd. Meeste mense wat teen dit is, teen die feit dat dit uit taxpayers' sak uitkom, once upon a time lived off public healthcare facilities toe hulle nie gewerk het nie. They lived off free food in schools toe hulle op school was, toe hulle nie werk nie. When they couldn't afford private healthcare, when they couldn't afford private education, hulle het gebenefit die sakke van taxpayers af. So then they go from a point as to where they hear, and then they bump up to where they can afford private healthcare and whatnot. Eventually, like as no problem, because all along they were put through school by public schools. Those who went to public schools, they were put through school by the money of taxpayers. Those who lived off of public healthcare facilities gained access to these facilities out of the pockets of...
Okay, so basically what you're saying is, your argument is that you benefited, right? You were once a beneficiary
of these
things, and now you need to ensure there are other beneficiaries, but now you don't want to.
It becomes a problem.
After you've benefited. Yo, and what do you say, man, Thulani, about this before I weigh in?
The day before it was signed in, which was
Tuesday,
on the 14th, Tuesday, it was already a heated conversation on Twitter. And the bill has been a conversation, I think, a lot post-COVID. And because COVID-19 exposed how badly run is South Africa's public healthcare system, because in as much as our president called it surviving it and treating it better than most countries, I think for the most part of it, we should really be embarrassed at the rate that people were dying at. And instead of investing money in an existing public healthcare system that is already accessible, it just needs investment from government. Now you are running ahead of your time. Sweden and the UK have been able to manage free healthcare to the best of their ability. Do you know why? Because these are well-developed countries. These are countries that have stable political systems. So it's able to work. The unemployment rate is not that high, so meaning there's a lot of people that can pay tax, and the tax is not that high because you have a lot of contributions. So you can't really feel it out of your pocket. Now you put that same reality as a pipe dream in South Africa's current situation, and then you tell me, will we be successful? It's an unbudgeted for It's a great initiative with a great intention. But how do you still want to make healthcare so accessible when it should already be? Dr. Harry Surti is supposed to be a state-of-the-art hospital. We were excited as a province, leave the town, to get a hospital with such healthcare amenities. Yet at the same time, as Jano Hospital Gqalane Yihan Maka afspraak for a CT scan for something that is troubling you right now, you will be told come back in the next 2 months for your appointment. You could be dying in those 2 months. Because there are no staff members to be able to handle the machine or whatever, what. So now you are saying that there's this bill that's going to make me have access to healthcare, which is great. I really want that access. But now I have to get an operation of 150K. Is Opumapi from the bill. Okay, sure. But now me as a taxpayer, it then means I need to cough up more because now the next budget speech, which is next year, they will now include a new tax bracket and increase because now there's something new that needs to be catered for. But now you need to cater for it because we didn't budget and plan for it properly. Now the only way we can do that is guaranteed money by having tax increase. Yet at the same time, it needs to be accessible to everyone. And in our constitution, everyone means immigrant as well.
Exactly. Unfortunately,
Each country has immigrants, so we can't even treat that topic as a thing of it's a bad thing to have immigrants in the country. But now, can I just quickly wrap up? But now the problem then comes when I say irrational. It's you are hoping to be able to afford everyone that opportunity, but your hopes are not financially properly planned. You are making hopes and means as to how you would like for this thing to happen, but in reality, if your system is already failing now,
then what more can
that bill, in fact, to COVID-19, hoeveel geld was Zuid-Afrika gegeven?
500.
Where did that money end up? So meaning now you're opening up another gap for geld dat net verdwijnt, and then you hear it's another SOE of a failed whatever.
Can I just, what's of great concern to me from both of your contributions now? First, when you said that there will probably be improvement in the public healthcare system, which I do not see happening, because what is happening now is that should people not be able to be taken care of, I don't even want to say should people are already not being, the public healthcare system is already not able of feeding the population, of nursing the population, or taking care of the population, right? This means that most of them will run to the private sector, right? And doctors, if you followed the protest around this bill, doctors are saying they're leaving.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Skills are going to leave this country. And we already have hospitals like our one here who's short-staffed. So, and also, I don't see how this bill will improve our public healthcare system. For me, it's not feasible. I cannot see how moving people from one place to another place, whereas you can use this money to fix this place, is going to help. You're just going to overcrowd, as I already said, you're just going to go and overcrowd the private healthcare system. So for me, I understand they are saying that we should be patient because this bill is not going to be implemented immediately. Overnight. It's going to be implemented in phases. But then the problem that I have with this country and its government, do not care if it's the ruling party but let me say the problem that I have with our institutions, let me not say government, let me say institutions, is implementation. You see this bill on paper, it's good.
It sounds good.
It's very good. Even when the UN commented on this bill, they applauded because it speaks to the fundamental rights of human beings, which is healthcare, proper healthcare. But then we know this country. We know we have a problem of implementation. We know how many bills have been proposed, housing bills. How many bills have been proposed? They've come from government. The money has been, the money by Treasury is made available. But when it comes to the implementation, we fail. So for me, to have confidence in this bill is that government shouldn't have passed this bill right now.
should have waited.
They should have waited. Implement what is already in process, because there's a lot of bills, not bills, acts that are supposed to be passed.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, well, that are not even supposed to be passed. That are supposed to be implemented. Sorry, that are supposed to be implemented.
Fees must fall, for example.
Exactly.
That's still not.
That's still not. We have the for those who use weed. For those who use weed, right? I was reading up on someone asked a question around the use of weed, and someone said that no, you are allowed to use weed in your private space. But if you go and look at the bill in its totality, there's nothing happening there. It doesn't stipulate if the police catch you with this amount of weed and it looks like this, does it constitute personal use? So if I put my weed in a little container and the cops, they catch me on the street.
But
what I'm trying to get is that there are bills, there are acts and legislation in place that the government is already failing to even explain.
And yet they
we haven't even reached the point of implementation. Just explain, make it make sense to the next person. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because someone was caught with 0.5 gram. And that person argued it's my personal use, but because of the way it was contained, the person ended up being arrested because they said it looks like it's not for personal consumption, it's for sale.
It's for sale.
And yet the bill doesn't stipulate. Do you understand? And now you bring another bill. For me, I'm not confident in it. I love the act. I love its purpose. I love its intentions.
They could have waited.
But not now. Not now.
I think,
No. I think also it comes down to what I said earlier. We are being sold cotton candy dreams here. Something that will dissolve 1, 2, 3. And I'm going back to my point of tax. If our country will move towards the times, for example, in USA, I'm coming back to artists paying tax. It wouldn't put, if they start capitalizing on tax and creating sections or sectors whereby people are able to pay tax, it would somehow lift the pressure on the current taxpayers. Reason why I'm saying that, like Mr. Sigonya mentioned, that in the first class countries, the employment rate are very low, meaning that it's easier for them to implement these bills.
Yeah.
But for example, the way I see it, and Mr. Melanie just mentioned that it's tricks. It could be two ways. It could be that this is somehow the governing party's way of trying to show that we're trying to move in the right direction, even though we know we don't have the means
to do it. Yeah.
Or it could be setting up the next party. They could be setting up the next party to say, okay, so when we step out of the water, you guys deal with whatever it is. You know, yesterday I attended World Nurse Day. For the Upington section, they were able to celebrate it on the 12th of May, so they celebrated it yesterday in Rainbow town. So the president of the nurse section, Dr. Strelo, came from Joburg. He was delivering his speech saying how good the bill is, and he feels like it will lift the pressure off them. So he spoke about
them being the people in the public healthcare sector.
About the nurses.
Oh, the nurses.
The front health workers, basically. Because he was talking about when they used to have a budget that was able to cover everything. And unfortunately, we are not a country that works with contingency plans. There was no contingency plan for what if a virus breaks out, what if there's a pandemic coming, what if, you understand. And he says, here comes HIV. And the same budget that they work with. Now this is a budget they work with in the apartheid era, meaning that it's being divided nicely. Everyone has their own portion, you guys get this, you guys get that. But now he's saying that now HIV is being introduced into the budget. And they take a huge chunk from the budget that they're supposed to cater for everyone, and they place it on HIV and AIDS. Not long after, TB comes, cancer comes. So the budget keeps going smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think at this point, it's something that we've discussed, but we are not there yet. If we try to, especially it's coming again into the government capitalizing on its people, coming into let traditionally start healing within our health facilities. Me and Mr. Sigonya had a conversation today about sometimes you'd find someone going to hospital numerous times for a condition that is not meant to be healed by Western medicine. You'd find someone, actually this person has a
spirit.
song, for example. He was fed something spiritually. Now this person is going to the doctor, my tummy is running, my what is happening, my what is happening. Meanwhile, this person just needs to come with some sort of visa, cook out his disease. You understand? And another thing that I'm finishing up, another thing that the president mentioned yesterday is that, and it comes back to the dependency, he mentioned that you'd find at a clinic, it was right after the nurses did their village, and he told them that he understands that they sometimes get tired. You'd find someone so dependent on the grant they're supposed to receive, especially the disability one, that this person would be every single day at the clinic to try and fill up the file in order to apply for the grant. And it comes back to the dependency that they create on us. It must come to a point where we are brainwashed. I always swear.
It's fine.
Brainwashed to think that we must get the freebies.
Sure.
You understand?
No, I get what you're saying.
So the bill, honestly, I stand on. For the long run, yes. For now, no. It's not even close. Not even close. We need to start with the root problem of the mismanagement of resources. Firstly, last point. And also, another thing that we need to look at, because this is something that we also discussed, and I think it comes back to corruption and all that. He spoke about the expiring of medicine. How is it that we are such a sick community, but we still have medicine that are
expiring?
And you'd find people distributing that expired medicine. I think one of the conversations that I've had was, especially with Mr. Sigonya as well, was with that we need to look at stats as well. When you talk about COVID, people need to die. It's something that someone said that was in the health sector. This is a former health worker that said, unfortunately, people need to die. There needs to be mortality so that the numbers can balance. Not all of us are going to make it. And we constantly being dependent on this. Because unfortunately, with this bill, it could lead to, let me make an example, a taxpayer, a public sector worker, being so pressurized by now paying the bill, that this person now needs to resort back to public health facilities. So somehow they're benefiting, the money is being cycled into a circle. I'm paying tax to benefit from this. So it's just creating another mentality of
Yeah, I think we've reached the end of today's Unplugged episode. I'll just ask the gentlemen to give their final remarks, and then I'll just give a final remark and thank everyone for joining us, those who joined us online, and also those who joined us here physically in the venue today. So I'll start with you now. Just 2 minutes, wrap up, if you can, and then.
All I would say is that we should do this more often.
Sure.
And we should get more of our peers and more of our elders involved.
Yeah.
We should get the people that we are supposed to go to in terms of as job hunting or wanting to be part of the decision making and discussion that matter. What I mean is this and say, so that when we have questions, we direct it straight to them, and they should give us feedback on the spot. So that's basically all I'm going to say. So Andy, this is a very good initiative. We should see to it that it grows, That's basically all I'ma say.
All right, Thulani.
I am fairly disappointed at the fact that I think me and Nobuhle called the organizer, which is Andy, about like about the panel basically. Like I'm asking him some names here that I would have expected to see, but I'm not seeing these people's names on here. And his response was there was means made to reach out, and most political leaders were on some. We're busy campaigning actions. What is so sad about such an excuse is the fact that you have the means to go to Radio Riverside or iData on Facebook and then write whatever.
Sure.
But you don't see this as also a platform for you to come and campaign, and in your campaigning I'm going to question you about your campaign or whatever. So it's really, it then shows, as je dank van jong mensen stellen belang is, jong mensen belang stellen, stel groot mensen niet belang is. So als groot mensen belang stellen, moet jong mensen ook belang stellen. But we don't have any support or a sense of interest from the people who we're actually talking about.
Sure.
The people who have created environments that lead us to such conversations. So that's the first thing that I talked about, the disconnect. Go back to that. That is the disconnect I'm talking about. There is a huge gap that is not being minded here. And the expectations are so high, and it's sad that we're sitting here with so many questions and answers and solutions, but we have no one to address them to but ourselves. So basically, just what Unati said, it's a great, I luckily have had experience in broadcasting, and I think it's great to be able to reflect on things in a public manner, but it's just sad when who this is supposed to impact does not show up. You know, even young people.
Sure.
I don't have Facebook for reasons of my own. It's probably 5 years now that I don't have Facebook anymore. I do use other social media accounts, but it's sad that Facebook, which is the most used social media app here in Upington, which I suppose, even if I don't have the numbers, but you don't get see a Facebook account.
Sure.
And with the amount of followers his page has and the amount of people that have shared it, you would have expected a bigger, even if it's not full house, but a bigger amount of people, and especially grown-ups. You know, en dan is daar die verwachting, as daar wijksvergadering is, dan moet ek iets gaan steek. Ek sal iets gaan steek. Nie om te sê that I'm carrying on the same mentality of hulle kom hier, ek kan ook hier. As maar net 'n ding van, what have you done to try and get me there? And what about is it that I'm dealing with that is on your agenda? So when I do attend that meeting, I am also able to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but your entire agenda even has an age gap. But yet you expect that age gap to be able to fill up the space. It's quite unfair and contradictory and selfish if you think about it. So in order for us to try and move forward, we need to pave more platforms like these, and I think it is probably our responsibility to be able to get abantu that need to be here to be here.
Sure.
To cater for our needs.
As the Riverside you bel, maar jy ken jy gaan praat met 90,000 plus mense. Now you are keen. But ek roep jou, maar ek nou nie daai groot listenership of viewership het. You don't see this as a platform to pull up.
No, thank you, gents. Before I wrap up and give closing remarks, Tabongs.
Just a question for you three guys. What do you guys think should be done, or should be done more to involve in important issues like issues that are what should be done more to involve?
We should be in each other's faces. I don't think we're doing much to be in each other's faces.
And what I would say is that, this conversation is recorded, right? It's going to be available on YouTube, and it's going to be available on Facebook as well. So I think each and every person who's here has a responsibility to just share. That's how we literally spread around information these days. So I don't think we'll be able to grab people by their noses and pull them into this venue and whatever, because there's a lot of things. We spoke about distractions as well. There's a lot of things going on around here. We know in Paballelo, people won't be here at this time because it's already Puza Thursday. You understand? But what we can do, those who are here now on a Thursday night at 20 to 9, what we can do is continue this conversation in our circles. I'm part of a podcast called #Top of the Morning, and that's always what I say is I'm like, especially when we have conversations around kids, family life, we talk about everything, and we host every day. And after the podcast, as we're about to wrap up, I would always say that let's continue having these conversations in our circles. If we spoke about kids, and we are fortunate enough that sometimes we are joined by people who work with kids or people who work with addicts and whatnot. We continue these conversations. Don't just sit with the information and not share it with the other person. My thing is just we have the beauty of social media, and I'll wrap it up and we have the beauty of social media. I can be in the confines of my room, and then I can receive this message. So, Andy, my message to you is that just keep pushing, man. Eventually, the right people will come, right? The right people will come. The right conversations will be had, and sponsorships and all of those things. Do not focus too much on that. For me, focus on the purpose why you started this podcast.
Just one word.
The purpose, yeah.
Let's not be too reluctant on social media also. The reason why I said let's be in each other's faces. Weet jy hoekom was destydse vergaderings
the word of mouth
baie vol gewees en hoekom wou mense daar was? It's the way that you sell the idea to another person. Ek hou van praat uit die jare uit. Ek hou van gesels. Ek is net fortunate enough that ek is aanhou blessed om in spaces te is met mense wat die skam is om te praat. It allows for when you speak of such, many frame die doel van jy wil aanhou praat van negatief vir jou en wat. Have real conversations with your partner. Weet julle sê, hy's ook nou en dan. Praat regtig goed, man. Ons moet nou aanhou praat van waar het gestaan met generations te gebeur.
No, we
have a proper conversation to say, maar kom ons gaan next week podcast to try to open up spaces in your own spaces and have proper conversations.
That's
what I mean by being in each other's faces.
No,
I'm not redundant goed praat wat hier verskil maak in ons lewe nie, but things like these, we only talk about them when we see the poster.
Okay, I get that, gents. I really get that. But as I said as well, we live in an age of social media where people would rather be glued to a cell phone screen than have a conversation with the next person next to them. We've seen this many times. Slim no one in taxis ons wat public transport gebruik. You get into a taxi, you're on your phone. You don't even have a conversation with the person next to you. You don't even ask them, sorry, Oli, is Ali all right? Or sorry, bra, are you good? You see, we live in that age, and I am a firm believer in use what you have at your disposal. And fortunately enough, we have social media as means of communicating this message. But I really hope if I could extend a message to the young people of Paballelo, those in the region. I even reached out to people from Blikkies, and because I didn't want this to be a conversation, a Paballelo conversation, right? I wanted it to be a conversation where all demographics are represented. Even reached out to some white guys as well, but unfortunately, but hopefully we can have such a discussion again, maybe before the 29th, maybe after the 29th, then we can reflect, on the outcome of the elections.
Also, we have this toxic mentality of ons breek mekaar af. Like as mense wat ek nou op Facebook is en as ons drie sien saam met Andy
Sure.
podcast dan gaan dit nee man I mense as dinge like sy. Like
Kom ons hulle yeah.
what can they possibly talk about that would interest
Me,
me?
high and mighty me.
Kom kan ek ook daar is like is the audience hoeveel mense tegen sê la kan tussen die audience kom sit en questions ahead en reviews at die as hulle hier. Basically it all comes back to ons breek mekaar af. You who show interest in current affairs would be labeled to as Nemanji's follow Padlap Sugida.
Nah, thanks gents for honoring the invite. I know we started a bit late. We had technical glitches. We were supposed to also have two other gentlemen here with us virtually, but you know, these things happen. But as I said, Andy, hopefully we'll have this conversation again. We'll have a bigger audience. We'll have female on this panel as well. I was really disappointed that we do not have women.
Didn't want to.
That's actually that's something I
No.
I
mentioned it.
Yeah.
The reason, if you can ask Andy the phone call that we had this afternoon, I saw you say on the Alpha Grill or a klomp.
Yeah, like I'm really.
I actually thought she would be sitting
There are no particular, like not particular names, but I saw like of, yeah man, I will, I'm not going to Teddy.
Yeah.
And also Tabi Singh and speedy recovery onto her. Like Salaka, you know.
Sure.
And it's a good takeaway point. Next time on South well, it would be nice to have a very diverse
panel, even in terms of race.
It doesn't have to be a political organization because it doesn't mean a different organization that you can't have a opinion based on politics. Because politics affects everyone and anyone. So ek wil 'n lady ook sien. Sy lewe is ook geaffekteer van die. Ek wil daai utopie wat hier bly groot mense hiervoor. Why not go to their houses and invite them that there's something like this here? And these are the takeaway points. Are you interested? Maybe abantwana bakho, you can come spend time here and learn a few things. Whatever. There are different ways to try and really, you know, get people to change the narrative. And if we discuss things only when we see that post, we are not doing justice to spreading the message.
No, thank you very much, gents. Thank you to the audience for taking your time, for being here with us at this hour. We really, really appreciate, and I think you can give yourself a pat on the shoulder for being here and showing that you care about your community and what happens in your community. I think, Andy, that's a wrap, right?
This should happen more. That would buy a beer,